Hi, this is Meredith with the Cedar Rapids Public Library, and this program is called Job Lab, which is a collection of resources for anyone looking to find employment, especially right now. This is a program that we've offered in the past when we were able to meet face-to-face, but this has been updated with some more resources that have to do with unemployment potentially during COVID-19 and some other unemployment resources and some extra apprenticeship opportunities. So I want you to be able to see real quick right here, there's a tiny URL. If you go to that website, if you put that in your browser, there will be a blog that has clickable links to the resources that I've put in this little program. So take a moment and write that down and look for it in the description for this video, and you'll have all those resources at your fingertips, okay? So without further ado, let's get on with Job Lab. Now this is what we're going to do. We're going to talk quickly about searching the internet or using other resources to find a job, a little bit about applying for jobs once you've found one that looks like it'll be a good fit, and then how to gather some other job skills along the way. So here we go. Now, what I found is that in terms of searching for jobs, there are some really good resources out there, right? One, the Iowa Workforce Development's website. Two, you can do Grow with Google. 3, Corridor Careers. 4, Homebase Iowa. 5, Future Ready Iowa. And Earn and Learn, which is an apprenticeship program specifically for the state of Iowa. Now, all of these have a little bit of different angles, and some of them will overlap. For instance, from Future Ready Iowa, you can get to Corridor Careers, or there might be jobs cross-posted, but just so you know, there are separate entities, and sometimes they come together, and they all have something unique to bring. So something that's really interesting about Future Ready Iowa is that it has, you can see, a myriad of things that you can do from one place. It has virtual career coaching. You can explore careers that are relevant to what's going on in Iowa right now, what parts of the economy are booming and are hiring. You can find ways to build your skills along the way, incentives that will pay for your school while you're training and earning, and then they have some job search resources, not only for searching for jobs, but I'll show you later too some resources for helping to, for instance, make a resume that you can save right in your Future Ready Iowa account. If you want to go a little bit more the old-fashioned way to the want ads, Corridor Careers is the way to go. It links from the Gazette, so it's like the want ads. You can keep a resume on file through there. You can save your recent job applications, and you can get job alerts through Corridor Careers. So that's pretty great, you know? And at the bottom, you can see, once you log in and create an account, shoop, you can sometimes just apply right from the job application. And since you have all of your information saved, it farms right into your application for those specific jobs. Or if you want, you can save a list of jobs that you can go back to at any point in time and reference. Now, Iowa Workforce Development is the state of Iowa's job resource hub, right? So the thing that's important to be able to view job listings and apply, you're going to need to make an account. So I have a small screenshot of what it looks like when you need to sign up. This is important. Before you get to the sign up part, just make sure you have these things, right? Your name, your mailing address, an email address, one desired job title, your education experience, some employment experience. If you can, come up with 6 job skills. And then you can go from there. You create your account, and then you can customize it and then search for jobs, and then employers can search for you as well based on, you know, those skills that you've listed or alerts that you've set up. The cool thing about Iowa Workforce Development's website too is that I found that there are employers that will post directly to Iowa Workforce Development's job advertisements, but they might not advertise other places. They might not go to Corridor Careers. It might not show up on Indeed. So that's kind of a direct place to go for jobs in Iowa specifically. Now, Home Base Iowa is really cool. It's a veteran service. So you have all of these businesses that have employers that have already committed to hiring veterans. So if you have military history, you can go to Home Base Iowa. You set up an account. Same thing. You can upload your resume, and there's all sorts of great instructions to help you along the way. There are 2,100 Home Base Iowa businesses that have specifically put postings on this advertising kind of hub, and there are certified higher academic military partners as well. You'll notice they have this calendar. When things can come back face to face, there are opportunities for trainings and being up to date on some things going on in the employing community. So check back as the months kind of roll along and things are coming back to face for opportunities for veterans to enhance their employment skills. Another thing you can do is use just good old Google, right? So Grow with Google has a bunch of job skills and business enhancements that you can use to be employable, but at its very base, in a Google search bar, you can put jobs near me into that search bar, and you can find, based on your location, all sorts of jobs that come up from other different resources. So you'll get jobs from Indeed and Monster, like all in one place. And that's really nice too. If you put jobs near me, your location has to be enabled, whether you're on a computer or a phone. So if you don't enable your location, then this probably isn't going to work quite as well. But once you get that list of jobs, then you can see here, you can use other terms like jobs for veterans, things like that, and different codes you'll be able to see come up along the way. You can filter by location. You can set up email alerts for job types. And something that's really nice is at a glance, you can see salary information, employer reviews, and maybe some different ways to apply for jobs. So in that little snapshot that it brings up of each job listing, it's got extra resources at the bottom for you to get a bigger picture of maybe the job you're applying for or the employer that you're considering working for. So those are advantages of using Google. Something that I just recently found out about is the state of Iowa's Earn and Learn program. Well, that's what you do. You earn and learn. So it's a registered apprentice program where you can begin working and getting on-the-job training while you're entering a profession or a field. And I find it really interesting when you go and search, it has job types. And so a lot of times I think people think of apprenticeships as something that happens, for instance, with unions, but you don't have to be an iron worker. You don't have to be an electrician. You don't have to be a pipe fitter for these apprenticeships. It has dog grooming. It has being a barber, as well as a myriad of different kinds of mechanical, technological, healthcare oriented things. There's even like a wine cellar attendant. And so there are so many different things to choose from. It can help you find the right path that you want to go down by searching by job type, maybe instead of necessarily just what's coming up near you or what's on Indeed. So you get on the job training. Some of it is a classroom component to it as well, but you get a certification at the end of that apprenticeship that's good for being recognized nationally. And that's something that you can take with you, from job to job, especially if you consider, moving sometime too. You'll be able to take that certification with you. So that's something that I think is very interesting and different when considering potentially a career move, or if you're just getting started in a field. There are also many local staffing agencies that you can go for. A lot of those staffing agencies have temporary work, but some of them also have the temp for hire work as well. So I just checked, and Remedy Intelligent Staffing, Aerotech, Manpower, Robert Half, and Labor Finders are all agencies that are currently active in the area, so that might be worth taking a look at as well. Now, if you want, I think I mentioned it with some of those job search tools, you can get job alerts sent to your email. So for instance, I know when I was looking for a job, I set up different email alerts through things like Indeed, but you can also set up alerts through individual employers. I get an email from Cornell College, for instance, when they have job openings. There are different kinds of listservs that, for instance, in the library world, there's a library listserv that will sometimes send out job alerts, but also cities, local cities like the city of Cedar Rapids has an email alert that you can get when jobs come up. Counties, state governments, as well as the national government too, right? There are federal jobs that are available, and you can set up alerts to receive jobs that come up in your area. So it's a full-time job to be looking for a job. So this is one thing that you could do to make your life easier and get information sent to you instead of looking all the time. Quickly, we will transition to the application process. So once you find a job that looks like it might be a good fit or potentially something that you could make work with your schedule, everything's a little crazy right now, these are things that you need to be prepared for when you're doing your application. Ahead of time, see if you can't come up with a brief work history. So that includes, vague dates of when your employment lasted, of course, what the business or entity was, organization. Keep in mind, you might want to have somebody there that you could use as a reference in the back of your mind. And then, the location sometimes they'll ask for. You're also going to want to think about some duties, roles, responsibilities that you might have had, and then keep that written down or in a resume so you can reference that, whether they're asking for that information in the form of that resume that you can just submit, or if you need to be filling in the blanks. When I said references, you might want to have those couple people in mind ahead of time and go ahead and ask them if it's okay if they could be your reference. Have an email address, have a phone number, and ask ahead so that when it comes time to apply for a job, you're just ready and can put those names and contact information in. It's nice if you have a resume, even if it's not required for your application. I think that it looks really nice if you go ahead and slide that in because it shows people that you care. A nice polished resume shows that you have your ducks in a row, you're prepared, and you're putting your best foot forward. And that's what a cover letter does as well. Same thing, a lot of places might not require it, but if there's a place where you can add supplemental documents, by all means, show them what you've got, what you're made of, and why you're going to be a good fit for that organization, that business, that company. Okay, so those are things to have in advance before you sit down to even apply. So when you're coming up with these documents or filling in these blanks for an online application, you're going to want to think about keywords, right? Keywords that you can use to, make yourself the most sellable. So you can see here, this is a Corridors career job that I snipped out. So when you look through that job description, you're going to look for words that employer wants. So assemble, operate, read and follow, team environment, and flexibility. Those are all things that whether, no matter what level of education you have, no matter what you've done before, if you can make those stand out as skills that you have, they're going to want you at Amana, right? So that's something to think about. You can put those kinds of words and skills not only in those fill in the blanks, but you can integrate that into your resume. And when you write that cover letter, use some of those keywords. Now, resume writing, I feel like, is really kind of a big block for some people. Things about your resume. One, you don't want it to be too long. Bullet points, short and sweet. You want those skills, those things that you're going to bring, whether they're soft skills or not, to the forefront. You want to see that right up front. Also, you want to make sure you put your relevant work history. You know, it's okay to leave something off your resume if it's not super relevant. You just don't want to leave major gaps in your resume if, like, in terms of if you leave out a job and it looks like you haven't been employed. If it's a big gap, then you can leave it. Or if it's a big gap, you want to leave it and then kind of take those keywords and make sure that things out of that job, if it's not directly relatable, still stand out as transferable. Also, if you have any kind of education or certificates to list, you're going to want that on your resume as well. So think back, when did all this happen? Do you have a piece of paper that tells you what exactly the certificate's name was? Things like that. And if you do any volunteer work, that counts too. So put a little spot at the end for volunteer work because it makes you look like you're a go-getter, right? And lots of times, all those volunteer opportunities are developing other skills, right? So make sure that they all kind of correlate as well. Now, I know of two really pretty good resources for building a resume. The library has BrainFuse, which is one of our online resources, and they have a resume lab in our Job Now. There's also a version for veterans as well, Vet Now, which has a ton of job search resources and skill development resources. It's really dense though. It's kind of hard to find the resume lab. Something that I think is super easy is using Future Ready Iowa's resume builder. It's kind of hard to find at the bottom of the page, but once you get there, it's like filling in the blanks. It's a form and it will export all that information into a really nice looking resume. If you have an online account with Future Ready Iowa, you can have multiple resumes. So if you have one that really shows off your customer service skills for applying for customer service jobs, and one that has a little bit of different language if you're applying for maybe that manufacturing job, right? So you can have multiple resumes for different types of jobs, and you can download them very easily, and it's all free. A lot of times, if you search for one of those free online resume builders, just in a browser search, a Google search, they'll ask you to pay to download it or to save it or any of those kinds of things. So these are free resources that you can be guaranteed are going to work. This is a little screenshot of the Future Ready Iowa's website. And so they have all sorts of things. Like I said, it's kind of dense, but it's just this easy. You put your name, your email, your phone number, and that'll appear at the top of your resume. You can save them, you can download them. Just go ahead and make sure that you sign up so that you can log in and everything's saved. Now, if you're going to do your cover letter, BrainFuse does have some great tips for writing your cover letter, but these are my tips. You want it to be brief, about a page, right? You don't want people to have to look through too much to get to the information, but you're going to introduce yourself briefly. Hi. My name is Meredith, and I am interested in this position of assembler that I saw listed on Corridor Careers. You want to state the position that you're applying for, assembler, and then reference the experience that would make you an excellent fit. It's your chance to sell yourself with a little bit of a narrative to supplement your resume, okay? So, moving along. These are different times, right? So one thing that I've added to this presentation is the Zoom component, right? Once you've applied, you might get an interview, right? Some hot tips. If you're interviewing over Zoom, or if you're having, any kind of training even over Zoom, one, make sure your connectivity is going to be strong. You don't want to have a dropped call in the middle of your interview. Create a background for yourself that looks pretty neutral. You're still going to want to dress up, even if it's a Zoom interview. Put your best foot forward, so to speak, and practice using Zoom before, if you haven't used it before you just jump into your interview, okay? So if you want, call a friend, Ask them to Zoom with you, set up an account, get familiar on that kind of interface so that when it's time to interview, you're relaxed, you're confident, and you're yourself, okay? Now, some supplemental things just to think about. I mean, especially now, lots of things are online, but how does your Facebook look? Do you have a professional Facebook account that's separate from your personal? How easy is it to find you? If there's, I put Barack Obama up here. Who's looking for a job? Is Barack Obama looking for a job? I don't know. But I was thinking, you know, like a public figure, like we're all kind of public figures once we put ourselves on the internet. So that's something to keep in mind. Does your Facebook presence make you look like someone that companies want to hire? Sometimes people go and look at that kind of stuff. And not that you shouldn't be yourself, but you can limit your search settings too. So not anyone can find you publicly or whatever the case may be. Also, if you want a LinkedIn account, that's another way that you could put perhaps your LinkedIn website on your resume. And it just shows that you've gone that extra step. It can showcase some of your skills. You can have references right there on your LinkedIn account. You can ask employers or coworkers to endorse your skills, and then that shows up there. So that's not bad. And then email addresses. Is there one that you use for your personal versus your professional? For instance, if you're cutie face bubble pie versus Meredith Crawford in your email address, that just gives a big first impression. And so it looks like you're prepared for the job market with your professional email address. So not that you need to have a million email addresses, but you might want to choose the one that represents who you want your employer to see. Some ways to enhance job skills. I think I already talked a little bit about Future Ready Iowa, how they have the opportunity to enhance some work skills, apprenticeship programs. The library has lynda.com, which has a ton of different entire courses that you can do. And you can see down here what some of the popular learning paths are. You can become a user experience designer, a network administrator, a Python developer. So it's coding and technological skills. There's also things like you can see on the other side here, how to use Excel spreadsheets and different softwares to enhance your skills as well. There's self-publishing tutorials, and some of them you can take just a video at a time, or it's an entire course that you can complete at your own pace to enhance some job skills. Also, this is great. Kirkwood Community College Career Services. So, you know, things look a little different with social distancing. So I would recommend checking out the website and calling first before you just walk right in. But what they can help you do for free is work with interview skills, help you with your computer literacy, if you need to work on your English language skills, and if you could possibly use some tuition and expense support, right? That sounds amazing. Go and talk to them at Kirkwood. Call first, then go and talk to them so that they can give you some added support that's even more than the library or anywhere else could offer. Also, Kirkwood has this great program. They have funding for training that gets you fast-tracked into these over here, different jobs and fields, right? So they offer tuition assistance, which can make your education actually free as long as you're eligible to work in the US. And so it has everything from, you can see, IT work, some manufacturing, transportation, health occupations, culinary arts, and even green industry. So some of the biggest growing industries in Iowa, there are fast-track programs for getting you employed. Also, again, things look really different right now, but the Opportunity Center still is working. So the Opportunity Center is a partnership between the public library, Kirkwood, IOWAWORKS is over there, and we have some other partners that come in and out, but it's at the Ladd Library. And if you call or use our email address there, opportunitycenter@crlibrary.org. They'll be able to help connect you. They're not seeing people on a walk-in basis, but call and ask what kind of resources might be available for what part of your job search you're looking for. They have access to partners with Goodwill and Jane Boyd that have other incentive programs and small business work and employment training opportunities. So it's totally worth a phone call if you're finding that it's really hard to just search the internet and find a job, which it is right now, to be honest. So just so you know, the Opportunity Center still is running, just not on a walk-in basis. Also, appointments are now available at Iowa Works. So at the Lindale Mall office, if you call ahead, you'll be able to schedule an appointment to work with somebody regarding employment. There's a specific number for the unemployment line too, but things are back up and running as of September 8th. So give them a call if you need some more intense help, or if you're having trouble with their website, or if you just need another venue for searching, okay? And so this Iowa Work Center helps in this region, Region 10, which is Benton, Cedar, Iowa, Johnson, Jones, Lynn, and Washington counties, okay? So they'll help you with resources for job readiness. They can help get you signed up for those programs at Kirkwood too, and they can help with practice tests that you might need to be admitted into some of the apprenticeships programs or fields that you're looking to enter. Also, in this time of COVID-19, this is from the Iowa Workforce Development's website. You can see at the top here, there's individual, business, and COVID-19 resources. There is a temporary job opportunity link for people impacted by COVID-19 closures. So what I thought was interesting and why I snipped this too is because at the very bottom, it says it's updated daily. So that's a great place to bookmark and go back if you're looking for something until one job opens back up, or if you're waiting to see how that opens back up, okay? For unemployment info too, because if you're looking for a job, you might need some help, right? So here is a phone number and a claims email for unemployment insurance, right? So these are the hours. If you need some assistance that way, give a call if you can't make it straight to the Iowa Works office for information, and get it started this way, okay? And as always, if you have questions about this presentation or any other resources in the community, give us a call. Our general number is right there, 261-READ. You can now walk into the library for 1 hour of computer use. You can do some browsing as well. So if you want to come get a resume book, for instance, on how to write a resume, you can come and visit us. You can come pick up holds, whatever the case may be. But these are our new hours, Monday through Thursday, 10 to 7, Friday and Saturday, 10 to 4. And here's my email in the middle, kind of. If you have any questions specifically about this presentation, shoot me an email. I'm not always in the office these days, so a phone call might not get there, but always on the email. So that's a super fast rundown. Keep your eyes peeled for more workforce development programs coming up through this fall and leading up to winter. We'll have workforce development partners that have special guest stars, and we'll have the ability to have Zoom meetings for one-on-one help. So keep your eyes peeled. I wish you the best of luck. And from all of us here at the Cedar Rapids Public Library, thanks for watching.